Artem, a successful architect, returns home after a long business trip. He can't wait to see his wife, Irina, and children. But something alarms him right from the door. An unfamiliar perfume, unfinished glasses of wine in the kitchen, and muffled voices from above. Rising to the second floor, Artem finds his wife in the arms of another man. He is stunned and confused, not believing his eyes. Artem, what's going on here? Irina shudders, and her lover quickly gets out of bed. Irina. Artem, this is not what you think. Artem. How could you, after everything we had? After what he saw, Artem simply decides to leave the house in the morning. Artem returns home when Irina leaves for work. He enters a house that now seems alien and cold to him. Looking around, he sees memories of happy times, but they are now overshadowed by betrayal. Artem returns home when Irina leaves for work. He enters a house that now seems alien and cold to him. Looking around, he sees memories of happy times, but they are now overshadowed by betrayal. His heart is filled with anger and pain. He can't hold back any longer. Artyom begins to hit the furniture, break shelves, and tear up photographs in which he, Irina, and the children are smiling. One thought pulsates in his head. How could she do this to me? He grabs the family portrait and throws it against the wall, breaking the glass into small pieces. Then he goes to the kitchen, grabs the plates and cups and throws them on the floor, where they break with a crash. Artem screams in pain and anger, throwing out all his frustration. He remembers the children's room and stops at the door. He can't afford to destroy their world. Instead, he goes to his bedroom where it all began. He sees the bed where he found Irina with her lover, and this infuriates him even more. He begins to tear the bed linen and throw things around the room. His rage finally subsides and he falls to his knees in the middle of the ruined house. Artem feels empty. Tears roll down his cheeks and he realizes that he now has to find a way to gather his strength and move on. Suddenly the phone ringing breaks him out of his state. This is Maxim. Artem, how are you? Artem, breathing heavily. I can't do it anymore, Max. I just can't. Listen, you are not alone. Let's meet and talk. It will help. Artem, wiping away tears. Okay, thank you, Max. Artem gets up and begins to pick up the remaining pieces in the house as a symbol of his determination to put his life back together. He knows there is still a lot of work ahead, but he now has a goal to rebuild himself and his life. Artem drives up to the cafe where he agreed to meet Maxim. Getting out of the car, he pauses for a moment, trying to calm down and collect his thoughts. Going inside, he sees Maxim sitting at a table in the corner. Maxim raises his hand in greeting. Hey, Artem, here. Artem sitting down heavily opposite him. Hello, Max? You look terrible. What happened? I trashed the whole house. I just couldn't help myself. Maxim, with sympathy. I understand. It's normal that you feel this way, but now you need to think about what to do next. I don't know, Max. I just don't know how to move on when you've been betrayed like that. First, you need to calm down and make a plan. You can't live in a destroyed house. You need to put it in order. But the most important thing is to figure out what to do with Irina. She destroyed our family. How can I forgive her? Forgiveness isn't something you do for her sake. It's something you do for yourself. But that doesn't mean you should continue living with her. Maybe you should think about divorce. Divorce. I thought about it. But how will it affect the children? Children will suffer if they live in constant tension. It is better to talk to them honestly and explain the situation. They deserve to know the truth. Artem thoughtfully. You're right. I need to gather strength and talk to the children and decide how to move on. Maxim. You can do it, Artem. We are all here to support you. If you need help, just tell me. Thank you, Max. Your support means a lot to me. Maxim. Let's have some coffee and think about how best to organize a conversation with the children. And remember that you are not alone. We are all here. Artyom nods, feeling his soul become a little lighter from his friend's words. They order coffee and begin discussing next steps. Artem understands that there are still many difficulties ahead, but with such support, he will be able to cope with any problem. Artem returns home after meeting with Maxim. The house is still in chaos after the early morning outburst. He decides that everything needs to be put in order immediately. He spends the day cleaning, restoring furniture, and tidying up the rooms. In the evening, when everything is more or less in order, Artyom calls the children into the kitchen. "Children, I need to talk to you. Please sit down." The children sit down at the table, clearly excited and a little scared. "Dad, what happened? Why did you destroy the house like that this morning?" Artem takes a deep breath, trying to remain calm. "I want you to know that this is not your fault. What happened is between me and your mother, and it is very serious. You won't divorce your mom, will you?" Artem looks at them with sadness and determination. "I can't promise you that everything will remain as before. Your mother made a mistake that greatly affected our family. She cheated on me, and it hurts me very much." "Changed? But how?" "She was with another person. It's a betrayal, and I feel very betrayed. But that doesn't mean we'll stop being a family. We'll still take care of each other, support each other." "Artem, she was with another person. This is a betrayal, and I feel very deceived. But this does not mean that we will stop being a family. We will still take care of each other, support each other." The youngest daughter begins to cry. "But we'll still stay together, right? We don't want you and Mom to separate." Artem hugs her, trying to console her. "I understand that it's hard for you to hear this, and I wouldn't want it to turn out this way either. But sometimes adults have to make difficult decisions. Mom and I will talk and decide what to do next." Eldest son: "We will be with you, Dad. You are our dad. We will get through all this together." Artem smiles through his tears. "Thank you, son. Your understanding and support are very important to me. We will definitely get through this. The main thing is to be honest with each other and support each other." The children nod, indicating that they are ready to go through this together. Artem feels the heaviness in his soul lessen a little from the realization that his children are on his side. He understands that there are still many difficulties ahead, but with such support he will be able to cope with any challenges. The next day, when Artem leaves for work, Elena decides to have a conversation with the children. She understands that the situation is serious and hopes to convince the children of her version of events. Elena: "Children, I need to talk to you. Please, sit down." The children, still confused and sad after yesterday's conversation with Artyom, sit down at the table. Elena: "I know your dad told you a lot yesterday, but I want you to hear my side too." Eldest son: "Mom, Dad said that you cheated on him, is it true?" Elena sighs, trying to look calm and confident. "Your dad didn't tell you the whole truth. In fact, he was the one who cheated on me first." Youngest daughter: "What? But Dad said it was you." Elena: "I know it's hard to understand, but your dad spent a lot of time away from home, and at some point he started dating another woman. It really hurt me, and I felt lonely and betrayed." Eldest son: "But why didn't he tell us about this?" Elena: "Because he's ashamed. He didn't want you to know the truth. But I think you should know the whole picture. I made a mistake too, and I admit it. But I did it because I felt abandoned and alone." Youngest daughter: "Mom, this is all so confusing. We don't know who to believe." Elena: "I understand, my dears. This is a very difficult situation for all of us. But I want you to know that I love you very much and will always be with you. We must be together and support each other." Oldest son: "Mom, we love you, but we also love Dad. We don't want you to quarrel and separate." Elena hugs the children, trying to console them. "I don't want this either. We will find a way to deal with this. The main thing is for you to know that we both love you very much and will always take care of you." The children hug Elena, but doubt and anxiety still remain in their eyes. They understand that the situation is very complex and takes time to understand everything. Elena hopes that over time the children will understand and accept her side. But she also realizes that there are many difficult conversations and decisions ahead. In the evening, when Artem returns home, he notices that the atmosphere in the house is tense. The children and Elena are sitting together, and he feels that something is wrong. Artem. What's going on? Oldest son. Dad, we talked to Mom. We listened to both sides and decided that we don't believe you. Artem is amazed and confused. What do you mean? Youngest daughter. We love you, but Mom told us that you cheated on her first. We can't just believe that she made it up. Artem. Children, this is not true. I have never cheated on your mother. She is trying to manipulate you. Eldest son. Dad, we can't stay here anymore. We decided that we're leaving with Mom. Artem is in despair. You can't just leave. We have to figure this out together. We are a family. Elena stands up and takes the children by the hands. Artem, they have made their choice. They need stability and confidence, not constant quarrels and accusations. Youngest daughter with tears in her eyes. We still love you, Dad, but now we need to be with Mom. Artem feels like his world is collapsing. He tries to find words to stop them, but realizes that the decision has already been made. Artem, please think again. We can try to fix everything. Eldest son, we have already decided everything, Dad. We need time to figure everything out. Elena and the children collect their things and leave the house. Artem is left alone in an empty house, feeling the deepest loss and loneliness. He realizes that the situation is much more complicated than he thought, and that he faces a long and difficult road to restoring trust and getting his family back. Artyom, deeply wounded by the betrayal, decides that he cannot leave the situation unanswered. He makes a plan to take revenge on his wife and restore justice. At night, Artem enters the apartment where Elena and the children now live. He sneaks to Elena's bedroom and takes her phone, which she left on the bedside table. Artem. Sorry, Elena, but you yourself deserved it. He quickly unlocks the phone, knowing the password, and finds the contact of the director of the company where Elena works. Artem begins to write a message on her behalf. Text of the message. I can no longer work for your company. I hate seeing you every day. I hope you take the hint and fire me. I hate you. Artem presses send and puts the phone back on the nightstand. He then quietly leaves the apartment, leaving Elena unsuspecting. The next day, when Elena comes to work, the director calls her to his office. Director. Elena, I received your message. I'm sorry it ended like this. You're fired. You can take your things. Elena is shocked. What? What message? I didn't send anything. The director shows her a message on his phone. Elena understands that this is the work of Artem, but she cannot prove anything. Elena, it's some kind of mistake. Please believe me. Director. I'm very sorry, Elena, but I can't work with a person who treats me like that. Goodbye. Elena leaves work, feeling deceived and humiliated. She understands that Artyom will not stop, and that his revenge has just begun. Artem did not stop at firing his wife. He decided to bring the matter to an end and deprive Elena of everything that is dear to her. He hired the best lawyer and filed a lawsuit for the division of property. In the courtroom, Elena looked confused and depressed. Artem, on the contrary, looked confident and decisive. Judge. After considering all the evidence and hearing both sides, the court decides to transfer the house and car to Artem, since he provided compelling reasons for such a measure. Elena, with tears in her eyes. Please at least leave me the car. I won't be able to live without it. Artem, you destroyed our family. You don't deserve anything. Judge. The decision is final. The court is closed. Elena fell to her knees right in the courtroom, begging Artyom, please, I made a mistake, but I can't be left without anything. Think about our children. Artem in a cold tone. The children will live with me. You yourself chose this path. Elena. You can't do that. Artem. I can and I did. Elena, realizing the gravity of her situation, left the courtroom. She had no home, no car, no means of livelihood. She realized that Artyom had carried out his revenge to the end, and now she had to start everything from scratch, absolutely alone. After the trial, Artem did not calm down. He decided that Elena and her lover should feel the full consequences of their actions. Artem gathered his friends and went to his wife's lover, Andrei. When they arrived at Andrei's house, Artem and his friends got out of the car and confidently walked towards the door. Artyom knocked. Andrei opened the door, and before he could say anything, Artem and his friends burst inside. Andrei, scared. "What are you doing here? Leave!" Artem, with cold determination. "You destroyed my family. Now you will pay." Artem and his friends started beating Andrei. He tried to defend himself, but there were too many of them. A few minutes later, Andrei was lying on the floor, bleeding. Artem sitting down next to him. "This is just the beginning. You will never approach Elena again. Do you understand me?" Andrei, breathless. "Yes, I understand." Artyom stood up and looked at his friends. "Come on. Our work here is finished." When Artem and his friends left the house, they left Andrei on the floor, suffering from pain. Artem knew that now Elena would be left completely alone without support and help. This was his final revenge. Artem, in the car. Now she will understand what it means to lose everything. Artyom's friends nodded approvingly, and they left, leaving Andrei in his destroyed house. The trial was coming to an end, and the judge made the final decision. Elena lost custody of the children. Artem, although he won the case, made an unexpected decision. Judge. After considering all the evidence, the court decides that the children will remain under the guardianship of their father, Artem. Elena, with tears in her eyes, "Please don't take my children away." Artem, coldly, "You lost them the moment you decided to destroy our family." Judge. Artem, are you ready to take full responsibility for raising your children? Artem, with a heaviness in his voice. "No, I decided to go to Berlin. I won't be able to take care of the children." Judge, surprised. "What are you proposing?" Artem. "The children will live with my mother, their grandmother. She will take care of them until I get settled in Berlin. In this case, custody of the children is transferred to the grandmother." Elena, in despair. "You can't do this. This is the best I can do for them right now." Artem arrived at his mother's house with the children. He knew it would be difficult for them, but he believed that this was a temporary measure. Children crying, "Dad, don't leave us." Artem, hugging them. "I have to leave. It's difficult, but I promise I'll be back. Grandma will take care of you." Grandmother, with kindness. "Don't worry. I will be with you. You will always be safe." Artem, looking at his mother. "Thank you, Mom. I'll be back as soon as I can." Artem flew to Berlin. He knew he needed to start from scratch to build a better future for himself and his children. Artem thinking, "New life, new city. I have to do this for their sake." He found a job and began to arrange his life, hoping that he would soon be able to return and take the children with him. Elena, having lost everything, tried to start over, but realized how much she had lost due to her mistakes. Artem, building a new life in Berlin, knew that his children were in good hands and did everything possible to bring them back to him. Moral of the story: cheating can destroy families, but it is important to find the strength to forgive and build a new future. Life always gives a second chance to those who are willing to change their ways and strive for better.